Breaking news out of the NFL, where the Philadelphia Eagles have traded tight end Zach Ertz to the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona was looking for help at tight end after losing Max Williams last week to a season-ending knee injury. They're going to send corner Tay Gowan and a fifth-round pick in next year's draft to Philly. Ertz actually played last night, scoring a touchdown, and the Eagles lost to the Bucs. Now he'll turn 31 next month and leave as second on the team's all-time receptions list with 579. The Eagles putting out this tweet saying thank you to Ertz, who is in his 9th season with the Eagles. He's also a key member of that championship back in 2017, scoring a touchdown in their win over the Patriots back in Super Bowl 52. Let's go ahead and bring in our senior NFL writer, Jonathan Jones. Jonathan, what do you make of this trade of Ertz to Arizona right off the bat?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for both sides. The Philadelphia Eagles really and truly should have traded him a long time ago so that he could have landed somewhere and signed a contract extension. They held on to him. He wanted to give his all to that organization, to that city that he loves so much, that he's been emotional about in many press conferences over the last couple of years, to be honest. And he's been edged out, of course, by Dallas Goedert, their draft pick from a couple of years ago. He very clearly is their top tight end target, but he landed on the COVID-19 reserve list this past week. And so Zach Ertz played for his team, being the #1 tight end last night, despite a diminished role previously, and sort of understanding that he was soon going to be traded. I was at the game last night on the field, and then right where we were set up, his wife, Julie Ertz, the fantastic soccer player, was there with some of their friends seated there on the first row, and he came over and shared a moment with her right as we were wrapping up one of our hits right before the game. And then after the game, in the locker room, Zach Ertz, as he was heading to the locker room, appeared emotional as Philadelphia reporters captured that on some video. So it became pretty clear that this was an important night for Zach Ertz. And now, of course, we truly understand why, that he had to go into that game knowing that the Philadelphia Eagles were doing their best to ship him out. And now he lands with an Arizona Cardinals team that the only undefeated team in the NFL, a team that just lost Max Williams to that knee injury, a significant knee injury, by the way, one that I'm not entirely sure he's going to be able to recover from in time for week 1 of the 2021 season. So not only is this a move for the Arizona Cardinals for this season, but it may very well be a move for them moving beyond this year.
Nice to see Zach Ertz go out on a great note there with the touchdown last night. Obviously, he's been a lifelong Eagles player. Now, Jonathan, the simple and maybe not so simple, ridiculous question, I'm not sure how you want to classify this. Is he eligible to play this week for Arizona?
He is not. I don't know if he would want to and put his body through that, but I was just texting with a source familiar with the CBA. Zach Ertz would not be able to play this week for the Arizona Cardinals, and so he's going to suit and gear up. We've seen it before where guys are traded before they get a bye, but then after the next team has already had their bye. So Emmanuel Sanders, that happened to a couple of years ago when he got sent to the San Francisco 49ers and wound up playing 17 games in what used to be a 16-game regular season. So that has happened before, but no, he cannot play twice in a week.
How does he fit into both Arizona's offense and Arizona, the franchise? Because he is set to become a free agent as well.
Right, and right now it is unclear whether they're going to work out some sort of contract extension. It seems unlikely at the moment. You certainly want to see what he has in the tank. If you're Arizona, you want to see how he exactly fits in there. But he's a plug-and-play guy. He's a veteran. He understands the game extremely well. And, of course, he's coming from a system in Philadelphia with a quarterback in Jalen Hurts, who is a lesser quarterback, no question, than Kyler Murray, who right now should be #1 in a lot of people's MVP votings. But in terms of, hey, we're going to run some RPOs, and so here's how we're going to need you to block, and here's what we're going to need you to do in the pass game. Those concepts are not unfamiliar to Zach Ertz, so that's going to make a lot of sense. Again, this Max Williams injury, I was told earlier in the week, is a very serious one, and so it's going to be something to watch for. The Arizona Cardinals, of course, being aggressive here in their window in the best division in football in the NFC West, and simply sending a corner and a draft pick to the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that they don't know who they are or what their identity really is. We see Howie Roseman sort of assembling draft picks and ammunition for next year. He could potentially have 3 of the top 10, though I doubt that's ultimately what's going to happen. Him, of course, owning the Philadelphia Eagles pick, the Miami Dolphins pick, and potentially the Indianapolis Colts pick, depending upon how many snaps Carson Wentz winds up playing this season. And so they are preparing for the future in Philadelphia, because this is not a team that, because they don't really know who they are, they're sort of middling right now, and that's never where you want to be in today's NFL.
Certainly preparing for the future, but what about now for Philly? Because as we mentioned, he was a staple part of this offense, 579 career receptions for the Eagles. So with Zach Ertz out, what does this mean for Jalen Hurts and company down there in Philly?
Well, it's interesting because I was out there on the field, as I mentioned, at Lincoln Financial Field, and I looked up at the top of the stadium and saw the retired and honored jerseys up there, and the most recent 2 were Brian Dawkins and Donovan McNabb, and I wondered who from that Super Bowl team would actually wind up going up there. And of course, the first guy I thought of was Zach Ertz, who was so close to capturing so many of those all-time Eagles records and meant so much to that team, to that franchise, again, to that city. Where does this team go from here? They have a lot of soul-searching to do, and this is what we talked about here last night, where they don't know who they are offensively. Is Jalen Hurts the guy? He was always going to sort of be a bridge quarterback and this season and then play well enough to hopefully become that entrenched starter. I've not seen that so far from Jalen Hurts. The downfield accuracy has been an issue. Maybe decisions on RPOs have been an issue. The line is blocking okay for him right now, but they have injuries and have had injuries for the last couple of years. Who does Howie Roseman want this team to be via the draft? Does he want to get some bruising offensive linemen and road graders, or do you want the guys who can get out in space a little bit? Do you want the speedy wide receiver like Devontae Smith that you just drafted? Do you want the big body X receiver who has the big catch radius if your quarterback is not necessarily as accurate as you want him to be? And then, of course, on the defensive side, they desperately need another safety. They need to probably draft a corner. I don't know if Tay Allen is going to be that guy. They really, really need another linebacker. Their defensive front is one of the best in the NFL. Their front 4, and so they're solid there. But what does this mean for the Eagles missing Zach Ertz? They'd already sort of edged him out as much as they could, an able-bodied 31, 32-year-old tight end. And it's going to be handed back to Dallas Goedert as soon as he tests negative twice within 24 hours, which should be soon for him and eligible to play in the upcoming week. So that's where the Philadelphia Eagles are moving forward with Dallas Goedert and company.
Jonathan Jones, senior NFL reporter for CBS, thank you so much for your insight on this one. Once again, Arizona Cardinals trading for tight end Zach Ertz, a lifelong Eagle, an Eagle no more as he heads out to the desert.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.